All right, everyone, come on in. I don't know if you saw my post. I just posted, we just ran stops at the highs, which was really predictable that that was coming. And now it's consolidating up there going into the announcements. So this could be a really interesting session. We have a great setup. Let's see if it takes us anywhere. So, let's see. Are you guys seeing my screen? You should be. The little thumbnail that usually shows up. There it is. Okay, I can see it now. Okay. Lock and load. So look at this. We ran stops, we pulled back and put in a price rejector on the pullback. Right at the highs, too. I mean, they must have taken a bunch of folks out with that one. So fun, fun, fun. The key to today is going to be patient and looking for good severe extremes is what we want. So let's hope we get them. That's going to be the trade. And in a couple of minutes, I will do a little intro and we'll go through what extremes, what does that mean today? If you look at the TPO view here, then just drag that over so we can see it. Extremes are really far away. This is an unusual situation because of what happened with the CPI number a couple of days ago. So, 4,200 is easily in play. And, that's 130 points up. Likewise, 4,000 is in play, and that's 80 points down. So, this could be a real interesting little party here. Definitely want to be patient and see if we get a good setup. And if we take it, don't hesitate. Just take it. It works or it doesn't. If it doesn't work, get out of the way. As long as we don't have, total price discovery that's just not tradable, we ought to be able to catch some ticks here. So that's the plan. Come on in, pull up a chair, get your coffee. We're probably gonna, we have at least 13 minutes till we actually get the numbers, and then it'll digest for 5-10 minutes, and then we get the press conference at the bottom of the hour, and that's when the second round of fun starts. If you're not familiar with these FOMC announcements, there's two events. One is the announcement itself. Everyone will scan whatever they say, looking for keywords. That'll put us into price discovery. The market will get real thin right before that. And then once we establish some extremes, it's a kind of a volatile until the press conference starts at the bottom of the hour. And then it usually, it will react to stuff that is said, but it will settle down more into hopefully a workable range. And again, there's a single print up at 4110, and all by itself, that's 30 points away. That one is interesting. Everything above us is interesting. If for some reason, whatever the Fed says gets the market going up, based on what we've had so far, the energy we've had so far, and the fact that we're trading at the highs right before the number, I wouldn't be surprised to see it push up. But it may not do it today. It might take a day or two to digest it. One really good point about this whole situation that I was just responding to a tweet, and let me show you the thread because this is totally true. So Credelli tweeted this: FOMC day used to be the most sought out day to trade when we were in the pit. Nowadays, the most difficult day to trade. I've stated many times, today is the overreaction. Tomorrow is the reaction to today. And day 3 is when we get confirmation of the trend, if there is one. All true. I agree with all of that, but I don't agree that today is the most difficult to trade. It's just the most extreme and the most volatile. But if you're at the edges, it's very tradable. And Dimitri, our friend of TRG, former member, wrote, he agreed. And what he said, I totally agree with. This is exactly right about how it is tradable. So good student, Dimitri, and he's also a decent trader all on his own. And like I said, a friend of TRG. So anyway, curious to see how this plays out. We'll know soon. So anyway, I think we'll have good opportunities today. It looks, the setup is good. This game at the highs that we've been playing all session today, it continues to play out. I just shorted, I didn't short the stop run, but I was short right before that on the previous one here. and took profits before I opened the room. And now I'm totally in sitting on hands mode. I want to see what they say and and more importantly, I don't care what they're saying. What's important is the reaction to what they're saying and what the Fed says. And and it doesn't always get baked in right away. Sometimes it takes a few minutes to bake. So you have to watch the order flow. You have to be careful. There's another thing that I like to tell people about this setup because I think it's true more than it's not. Sorry, I'm yawning here. It's true more than it's not that the first pulse, let's say we get a big pulse up or down. The first pulse is hard to trade, but if you get a second pulse that takes out that high or pushes right around to it, that's the entry. The very first move is often tricky and sometimes that move gets run over by the next move is what I'm saying. So I wouldn't just randomly fade the first pop up. I would wait to see, if in fact, as Dimitri said in his post, if the order flow is supporting that it's getting sold up there. And that's pretty easy to see. Stops run's a good example, or a price rejector is another good example. Some people don't like to trade stops runs. I actually like them because, that's how a ledge goes. And I like to fade right into the top of it back into the range. It works well, but there is potential to get run over if you don't do it well. That's true. So anyway, if you have any questions or comments, stick them in the chat. I will get to them in due course. Right now, there's not a whole lot going on, so I'll get to them quick. Oh, I'll make sure I've got everything canceled. This session is scheduled to go at least through the press conference and the first 10, 15 minutes of it. So about an hour from when we started. There's an outside chance I might need to end it a little early because of a minor medical thing going on for me. So, but we'll at least stay through the press conference. So I will hold out at least that long. And if we get some good trading, then we'll stick around and do some good trading. Typically with this, yawning. Typically this setup, it's not unusual to get a couple of opportunities to trade this. We should see some pretty good extremes if there's anything in the announcement that interests the trading world or spooks it either way. And so, the key is just to stay really, really calm and not let the craziness make you feel crazy. You just have to kind of watch it, take a step back. I actually step away from my trading desk right when the number comes out. I stand up and I back away so I don't have an urge to click on anything. And just kind of, if I was watching this from a distance, how would I perceive that it's trading, kind of stop, look, listen, smell from across the room and try to get an idea of what it feels like. That's really a good habit to develop right when craziness news comes out and the volatility starts. Just a way to kind of reset your brain and, get focused. So I make a point of doing that. So we have 6 more minutes. And again, what happens here is they release a statement with the decision. And there's usually not a lot of detail at that point. The press conference is when, the hedging of the questions and how people respond to questions. And, that's where it'll get a little more volatile. But we'll definitely see a price discovery reaction to whatever the number is. Everyone's expectations are pretty much the same here. Everyone's expecting a 0.5 point. And the thing is, the guidance going forward is what everyone's going to be watching. But, could we get a shock? Could we get a 1/4 point? Could we get 3/4 point? Anything could happen. People think this is predictable. It's not. The reaction is tradable, but predicting what's going to happen beforehand is just silly. If whatever happens is favorable, if the market reads it as favorable, we could see an explosive move up here. And we saw an example of that on, not even a good CPI number. It just wasn't as bad as everyone thought. And, look at this range. We had a 160-point range on that announcement before the market opened on Thursday or on Tuesday. And then that was the regular session. Then this was last night, and this is where we are today. So we're above the overnight. We're right on the initial balance high from yesterday, which is notable. You know, this range is getting bought. We saw that at the session. If you were at my session this morning, there was a bid under the market. There was a good range to scalp. I was trading it short, but we weren't going down very much. There were buyers down there. And, you know, fourth quarter, January effect, seasonally, small caps are strong. Seasonally, there's a rally sometimes, you know, the Santa Claus rally. All of that could happen still, could happen today. So don't just automatically assume you're going to fade any move up. We got to see, you know, the nature of the move, the nature of the order flow, trading the move, and then how the market responds to that initial thrust, that first thrust. Like I said, if I'm going to short it or buy it, you know, which I would do if we had a big push down potentially. If I'm going to do that, I don't want to necessarily grab the first thrust. Like I said, that can be deceptive. Sometimes just waiting a beat can improve your position dramatically how you enter this. So keep that in mind. All right, boy, the fact that we're consolidating right at the high in front of the number is relatively bullish. The market's propped up. You know, nobody's getting out of the way here. Although if you look at the liquidity, you can see them getting out of the way very clearly. There's virtually no levels that have 3 digits here. We're at 2 digits on even the bigger levels. So, you know, the market, anybody puts a big order either side of the trade, and we're going to sweep through 10 points. So, you know, be very careful of that. That's definitely something to respect. Okay, I'm going to go refill my coffee, and I will be right back, and we'll see what we get. We got about, 3 more minutes. Be right back. Okay, now we're getting some volatility. Whoa, look at that. Boy, the market just had a serious sweep down. Look at this. We're so thin. Now, look at this. It's trading, you know, 4 points back and forth, 16 tick range right now. So we're already getting, even 2 minutes out, we're already getting a lot of volatility. So let's see how it goes. And that's because it's so thin right now. That's why we're seeing that crazy action. Obviously the numbers or the announcement's not out yet. So yeah, this is what you see. Don't ever try to trade this. When it's this thin and it's price discovery, in other words, it's going in both directions like this, that's not chop. The book is too thin to handle the orders coming in and out. So you got to just get out of the way when this is happening. There's absolutely no way to trade it. But we might be able to trade it as soon as we get a number, which is coming here in a minute. Let's see what happens. Looking for extremes. We got all the way up to almost the big fat whole number. We got to 97 on that last push up. So let's see what happens. And whoa, look at that drop. Hello. Okay, this could be a buyable drop. Let's see if we can catch along down here. Okay, the numbers are out. Oh gosh, that's an interesting long at the lows, but I want to remember the first thrust rule. I don't trust this low yet, but it sure is an interesting potential long down a little lower. Look at all this movement though. No way to take the trade and try to get out profitably. So we need to settle out of price discovery, but the lows are getting pushed. So watch for a possible long here, guys. We're getting all the way to the other end of the range. Oh, very tempted to play. Where's the low at? The low has UB and it's at 44.5 for the session. So that's just another 6 points down. Let's see if we can take that out. And maybe there'll be a long down there. I don't want to get into this mess. It's just too volatile right here, but it looks like it's a long so far. And let's see if this low goes and we can nibble down there somewhere. So again, watching the bottom of the session right here at 44, there's UB there at 44.5. Let's see if it can take that out. The regular trading hours low is 50.25. We haven't taken that out yet. Boy, I'm really tempted to buy this down here. Let's see if it can push down into a real good extreme here. It's already done it a couple of times. It's just too thin to try to buy it and get out with the profits. It's moving around too much. But okay, there's a good push down. That's what we're looking for. That's the next thrust. Okay, Let's see if we can take that low out and maybe grab a long down here. Getting a nice tail, but everybody's going down still. Okay, we just took it out. We took out the overnight low right there. And now and then we turned, wow, we turned by 10 points up. So very hard, tricky stuff, but I still like it long. I just don't want to get in there yet. I want to see some sort of bottom that I can buy that has enough movement back into the range that I can get out with my profits. And right now we're not seeing that. It's making lower lows. So let's let it go and see what it does. We're, from on the VWAP right now, we're at SD3 approaching SD4. So this is definitely an interesting spot. That doesn't mean we can't run right through that and keep going down. Clearly the market doesn't like what came out. There's a price rejector on the pullback at the low. Ooh, that's interesting to buy. I missed it. Couldn't get to the market fast enough. I was looking at buying that low right there. I was going to just hit the buy at the market button, but we're going to push down again. Let's see if we can catch a push like down there. I've got an order at 23. It's 10 points, 15 points below the market. Just see if we catch a real flush out. I can get a fill down there. That's tradable back into the range, but trying to trade this little range at the low is just too crazy. So let's see if we can catch a bust out at the low. Price rejector on the pullback down there. So buying the low is a decent idea if it can hold or it just overshoots the next push. That's what I'm going to try to do here. It's not a bad long here either because, the range is so extended, but I don't trust that low is the bottom yet, I guess, even though there's a price rejector down there. I'd really rather see it come down to me before I join this. So you can see I've got an order down there. I'm going to stick another one right there, see if I can catch a push down. I mean, there's enough buyers that we're trading back into the range. So that's a positive, but it is so volatile. Even if I get a fill down there, I might not be able to get back out with my profits. So let's see what happens. Very, very thin here. We're all over the place. So this is definitely a swarming type setup where, it might take a few tries to get a good solid entry. So let's see. You can see I've got some orders down here at the low. Let's see if I can get a fill. The key to trading this kind of stuff is you have to let it come to you. You can't just say, okay, it's stable here. That there's absorption. Yeah, that's true. And there's a price rejector, but it can plow right through that in a heartbeat like it's doing there. So you have to let it come to you. This extreme got bought at the low. And if it gets down there again, it's not going to do that though. It's going to push back into the range here, I think. Yep. Oh, could have joined that there, but it's just not giving you enough. Yeah, let's let it settle down. See if we can get an entry anywhere down here. I like that idea. Okay, it's coming down to me. Maybe I'll get lucky here. The convergence of opportunity and preparation is luck. So if that fills, it's both. And it doesn't mean I could get totally run over down there. It could fill me and keep going. That's totally possible. But at the moment, it looks like that's a good spot to play. I could change my mind on that as we get down there if it gets going too fast or there's too much volume hitting the bid. But at the moment, it looks like that's a viable long. So we'll see what happens. Here we go. It's coming down. Come to daddy. I'm not doing this in NQ just because it's too crazy in NQ. It's way too thin. ES is trading like NQ. So that's why whenever I do FOMCs or NFP trades or anything, I tend to do them in ES or MES because NQ is just a little too volatile right here. It's too thin. Whether it's MNQ or NQ, same story. Okay, look, good absorption again right here. We've seen that several times in the low 40s. It still feels like a sucker trade to get long there. I like being long in the 30s. The 40s is, yeah, it might work, but you could also end up 10 points upside down really quickly here if it gets through that. And it is, got bought again. Look at that. So this area is definitely in play. That's 3 times now there's been a bunch of buyers stepping up right in the low 40s. But we're not getting that far away from it. So it's not an unequivocal get long here, not at all. You got to get a good entry if you're going to play this. I like it long. I like it down here. Let's see if we get a fill. There's no other good idea yet. one good push down, I should have a shot at it. One of the mistakes I used to make trading this kind of action news announcements is being too aggressive right at the first thrust. Sometimes you get really lucky and you catch a huge winner when you do that, but it also, I've had it frequently give me a nice winner and then turn on me really hard very quickly. And so I've learned that, better off letting it be a little bit more stable before I play. So that's why you're seeing me kind of really aggressively trying to get this fill at the low, and I'm not really going to do anything else. Okay, now we're coming down hard. That's what we want to see. Okay, they're selling it again. It's right at 40 again. Let's see if it gets through 40. It looks like it will this time. It did. Okay, now I should be able to get a fill down here. If not where I am, maybe sooner. I'm going to grab it right there. Got it. Okay, cool. Can I protect it? I'm long from 36. I'm trying to protect it at 37.5. I wasn't able to do that on that one. Pushing down again. Let's see if we can get another fill down here. I've got an order at 23, if you recall. I think I'm going to take a target on this trade going the other way because it's working this range pretty aggressively and it is pushing down. So another price rejector, zero print. So rather than trying to protect it with a trailing stop, I'm going to try to use targets. It's the other way to trade this. Okay, more absorption there. Let's see if this low can go and get a second fill. That would be ideal. Okay, right there. Got it. Okay, now some casual targets in there. It's pushing down again. Look at that. We might go a lot lower, but let's see if we can get back up into the range. Okay, a little push down got bought. Still have a zero print there. Not a real firm bottom, but no UB. Ooh, wow, that was interesting. Got some stops again. See if we can trade back into the range. If we can't, I might get out of the way here. Or I might swarm it with a little bit more size. Okay, here it comes. Come on, let's get back up to that 40. 40 is the target because that's where it was consolidating last time. So I'm going to take one off on the way to 40 and then try to get the other one right around 40. So here we go. Here come the buyers. All right, guys, with price rejector at the low. I want to get this first one off pretty quick. I don't want to be sitting with too big a position here when I can add to it lower. So let's see if we can get out of that one and maybe add to it down here. Get ready to try to do that. Come on. Trying to hold this. If it can't hold this, we could go a lot lower. So but so far, this area is getting bought. Good, good, good. Okay, we have a price rejector now. I've got some good consolidation volume below me. I want to get out of this first one with some profit and then see if we can catch a runner. Okay, so let's see if we take the first 10 or 20 bucks off here quick. Right there. Okay, ooh, I'm right where everyone is selling. Got it. Okay, we got to fill up there. Let's see if we can catch the runner now. This one I'm going to protect. Don't want to take the chance, and it got filled as I protected it. So profitable trade, nice. Picked up another 30 bucks across 4 accounts each. So actually, it's more than that. Yeah, no, 30. That's right. But it's going lower again. So let's see what we can do here. I'm not married to the idea of a long. It just looks like it's running out of gas down here, but it's also making lower lows, which we have a decent move down. So. Decent spot to take a beat and let's see what happens here. Like I said, we got a little bit of profit. I don't want to get too aggressive unless I really like this inflection point. And at the moment, it feels like it could go lower still. We're seeing absorption down here and we're seeing a price rejector on the pullback, but it hasn't bounced convincingly. We never even made it back to 40, my original target, which was the last spot we consolidated. If you look over here, you can see we did that right there, that ebb and flow and then we did the mid 40s here, and now we're down doing that at a lower level. So you don't want to be married to the level above when we have a new level to play. You can see we're in ebb and flow right here between 25 and 35. So there and there. And it's just not convincingly getting bought enough to get long here. The first one was a good one. We got some profits. I'm learning from the fact that it didn't give me as much run as I would have expected there. Like I was looking for 40, and that tells me there's sellers at the same place I was looking to sell. And so, let's see what happens when we get closer to the press conference. And we can make a nice lower low and put in a price rejector down there, that would be a nice spot to get long. Look how extreme we are over here. We keep touching SD3 and we almost got to SD4 of the VWAP. So clearly the energy's to the downside. Look at the internals too. The tick got really nasty. Now it's back up at positive, and advanced decline turned negative, but it's holding there. So it's not plummeting here. So whatever the market's doing, it's not, the bottom isn't falling out. It's just tricky to find a spot where you can make money going up here. And I certainly wouldn't try to trade this short right now. No way I would trade it short right now. Interestingly, if you look at the TPO view that I showed you guys earlier, we haven't gotten quite down to that 4-week low or those zero or the single prints down there that I talked about earlier. They're right around 4,000. We're at 38. So that's a really interesting spot, the 20 area. And you can see we almost got down there. We got close. The low is just above there. It's at 22.25. So keep an eye on that. If it got down there and filled in, and looked aggressive, that's a spot I would buy more aggressively than the one I was just buying, because it looks like there's likely to be more interested parties down there. So let's watch that. We still haven't been able to trade above 40. And that was the consolidation, as I mentioned. Just got back to it now. So tricky spot. This could get really, really interesting during the press conference. There's definitely a lean to the downside, but there's definitely buyers, when we push down. They're stepping up. You can see that in the volume, in the traded volume. So liquidity is all over the map. There's nothing going on there that's worth even watching. So I'll put the session footprint back up. And it's also kind of hard to read right now with all this movement. So we'll just kind of let it trade. Oh, if you have any questions or comments, stick them in the chat. I'll just kind of keep telling you what I'm seeing here at the moment. I don't like a trade either way. I do like a long lower down. If we see evidence it's getting bought more convincingly than that last batch of buying. We still have a price rejector on the pullback. You can see it if I crunch this together right there. But it's not a price rejector on the low of the session. It's just on the pullback of the low of the session. So that's why it's that cyan color instead of a darker green in my emoji tool settings. Yeah, look at all this. God, look at all the volume here. Very two-way in this low 40s, high 30s area. We're trading on both sides very aggressively. So there's lots of people playing here. All right, so 34. I do not like it at all. Anywhere here. We're in the middle of the middle with a bunch of supply and a bunch of demand at both sides of the range. I'm not interested at all in playing here. Just if you're long, the bottom could go and we could get burned totally, and short doesn't make any sense either. There's just not enough energy to the downside and there's buyers down here. So I just don't see a way to play this either way right now. So let's be patient. If the lows go and there's any evidence of buyers, which I'm fairly certain we're going to see, I will step up and buy the low, and we'll swarm into that, assuming we have, good order flow down there to justify that. And I'm thinking we will, based on what happened when we got down there the last time, but we will see when it happens. In the meantime, let's take a look at the when and if it happens. Here's the rotations, and this is interesting. So this is the 30-minute footprint. The one in the middle is the session. And you can see we left a whole lot of zeros on the way down up here. That's what that red is. Those are all zero prints as it swept down. So at some point, it's likely to revisit that area. That's one of the reasons I like the long, and the fact that there's at least a price rejector on the pullback at the low, not yet on the session itself. But if we can get down there, that continues to look interesting. But the mistake you could make with this trade absolutely is trying to front run it and get long too soon. Now, you could argue getting long right here at 34 based on the absorption, but that's kind of the trade I did a minute ago, and I didn't get I made profit, but I didn't get anywhere near back up to 40 like I was trying to do, and it just, it's not aggressively moving back into the range enough for me to really get aggressive here. However, further down, the whole equation changes because it's an extreme, it's asymmetric, and just to trade back to the mid 30s is a really nice move. It's a 20, 30 pointer. So that's the idea. This range is holding pretty well, but it's just too erratic to try to use that range at the moment. Okay, so let's see. We've got about 12 more minutes till we start hearing the press conference. I don't listen to it. I just watch the trading. I used to watch the NBC like 20 years ago when that stuff was going, but it's just all propaganda. I've learned to ignore it. The word that, best case, worst case, it's all propaganda and noise. Best case is, you're hearing other people's opinions, and I don't want other people's opinions right now. Mine is good. My opinion is accurate. So I don't want to be colored by listening to other people that are, talking about the big picture or swing trading or, whether there's value in stocks, all that stuff is meaningless for the futures right now. The futures are pricing in new information and that's the trade. So I really don't care what everyone else is talking about in the talking heads universe. We have a really good setup at the low here. If we can revisit it, it's definitely an asymmetric long. Other than that, we have no setups. We have stops and zero prints well above us. If we got back up there, that would be interesting, but they're so far away right now. They're 30 points away. It doesn't make any sense to worry about it for the moment. And understand that, the zero prints are not on the session here. They're only on the 30 minutes. So those aren't, the session ones are the most tradable, and we're not seeing any here right now. So, as far as the session goes, it's reasonably orderly. The min-max deltas are the right way around on the pullback, and, we're trading, now they're the right way around. They weren't a second ago. And now, we're kind of trading on the range, which is what you'd expect. Okay, let's see if anything on any of my other screens is of any interest. The internals have basically fallen apart and recovered, but the advanced decline did not recover. The tick did. So the advanced decline is now negative after opening fairly strong at a plus 1,000. So let's see what goes on with that. A couple of big caps have turned negative. Apple, Google, NVIDIA. I'm looking at the heat map now and just kind of summarizing it for you. That's earlier, these guys were flat or up. So, it definitely has a bit of a negative lean on. It's not like anything unexpected was in the announcement. It's exactly the numbers everyone thought they would be. So why we're getting this muted sell-off isn't totally clear, but I do like it lower, as I've said. Totally an ebb and flow here in the middle of the range, so absolutely no trade. And just to be clear, ranges are really good trades when the range is really well respected and we're not volatile within it. Like midday on a really tight range day is a great place to trade with size. This kind of range, this isn't stable, particularly with more news coming. So even though it looks like it's really stable looking at the LRCs here, it's not. It could break lower or higher very quickly. Don't get sucked in by the fact that those are flat, that we're horizontal here. That just means we stopped going down for the moment and there's not enough energy to push us up. So we're still trading below the overnight low, which is also noteworthy. If you look at my 30-minute, that was the overnight low at 44.5. That's why I was trying to trade back up to that spot, to the mid 40s, and we're still below it. So we do have UB on the pullback up there, and a price rejector, like I said, on this pullback, but it's not a real convincing one. It's not like there's exhaustion and absorption on any grand scale. It just barely qualifies as one. So well. 8 minutes to the press conference. We might get a shot at that long if it continues to dribble down here. I'm going to leave those orders. Well, I canceled them before. Should I put orders up now going into the press conference? Do we want to do that? Yes, no, maybe. Yeah, I'd rather just hit the market when it gets down there. I don't know that level's going to hold. Let's watch it. I don't think I want to play this with a limit order. the thinking there is pretty easy. Deciding which to do is harder, but I like to use market orders or just hit the bid or the ask when it's really volatile, because often limits don't fill, even if it trades to the limit. On the other hand, you can park a limit at a really good entry, and if you get filled down there, you're in the trade, and you make it work or you get out. So there's an argument to use the limit orders. As you saw, if you were at the morning session, a lot of times it trades right to my limit orders. I don't get filled because I've got them in exactly the right spot. And so, this is a low I might, under most conditions, I would have limit orders down here. But since we have the press conference coming up, it could strike a new chunk of volatility, ties the wrong tie color on Powell, or somebody's carrying their briefcase in the wrong hand and the pundits all jump, whatever, So I don't want to just get filled down there automatically. I want to see how if that price rejector goes and we take out the low aggressively, then, I don't want to get filled down there. I want to see how far down it goes, particularly given, what I showed you on the TPO view, the poor week low at 20. And then there's two single prints right around, 4,000, 4,005. That's a really interesting spot. So the last thing I want to do is get a fill here, on this price rejector on the session, on the pullback, and then have it go down to the real nice spots to get long, which is this old range where the single prints are and where that 4 week low is right there. That's the overnight of when we had the CPI number on Tuesday. So that was the pre-market session, traded down there and left a poor week low, and we left two single prints from the previous session. So that whole thing looks very interesting to revisit, particularly when we're not getting a good bounce here. So that's why I'm watching that, and that's why I don't want to put a limit order down here at the bottom of the range on this pullback price rejector. Just feels like if we get down there, we might go through that and give a much better entry. So let's see if we get it. But I'm prepared to hit the market aggressively. If this gets bought, I'll just hit a market order there and see if we can catch a run back up to 40. That's 20 points. That's a good, risk reward balance. A couple of ticks, couple of points to the downside if we're wrong, back to 40 if the range holds. That's 18, 20 points. I'll take that. That's good risk reward. As most of you know, I don't do the R to R thing that you see all the time on Twitter and elsewhere. That's a great way of looking backwards at your performance, the risk versus the reward for setups and for your overall. But I think that's daft on any single trade to think that way. The market just doesn't give you those kinds of movements where you can say, well, I've got my targets here, and you got to go with the order flow. You could get within 2 ticks of your target, and if it starts getting sold, take it. So this whole idea of R to R is just nonsense. It's for people that are trying to constrain a market that trades very humanly and erratically into a math model that, in hindsight looks great, but it never works in real time. So if you hear anybody spouting that bullshit, they're selling indicators or they're selling trading systems usually. Okay, 4 minutes to go. The press conference volatility won't necessarily start right at the bottom of the hour, just to be really clear. It's a press conference. They're going to ask questions and he's going to respond, and the answers are going to get dissected, and, oh, does he mean we're going to, that's what's going to go on. All the pundits are going to start does he mean, do they mean, that whole kind of predicting the future of the Fed. And so we could get really volatile for a little bit while that's going on. So again, I'm not married to the lows. I like along anywhere around there and potentially below that, but I'd really have to see it push down. Ideally, the binary I'm looking for, to keep using that term that I've been using in the last few weeks to just make it clear how I'm thinking. The binary I'm looking for is to blow through the lows, take everybody out, and then see aggressive signs of people on the bid, absorption, a price rejector, a high volume reversal. That's the sweet spot when we get that. But right at the bottom of the range here is not. That could be a good entry, but it also is really likely to get run over. So you want to let the low break before you try to put that trade on unless, of course, unless it gets down there and this price rejector on the pullback just totally holds and we get total absorption down there, then I'd hit the market, like I said. But I'm guessing that's not going to be what happens. If I had to think in bets, I would say, we could probably push lower, and I wouldn't just buy the first reaction. I would buy the second reaction of the low. Would I get short? No, this is not a short setup. This is a long setup. One of the first things that I used to teach people when I was coaching and teaching 20 years ago is that overwhelmingly the best way to think in futures is, to do the opposite of what's happening. Fade edges of ranges back into the range. Joining momentum in the futures market can be really tricky. In other words, if it starts going down aggressively, that's why I wouldn't short it. The behavior here is telling me that pushes down are going to get bought. I just don't know where. So that's a long setup. You say, well, pushes down. Why wouldn't you go short with the push down? Because it's getting bought, and it would be too hard to figure out where we're going here. So that, this tape is saying buy the dips. It's not saying sell the rips, which is the opposite, sell the pushes up. Look at this. We have totally horizontal LRCs. So we now have a 30-minute range that's perfectly established with a high at 50 and a low at the lows, mid 22, 23. So watch that range, particularly the bottom end of it, for signs of buyers. The top end of it is going to be tricky. I don't want to get short up there yet. We could get a rally going. The fact that it's absorbing now and, we're not going lower, that could push us up. Again, just repeat what Credelli said in that tweet that I agreed with. Today is all about the reactions. Tomorrow is the reaction to the reaction. And then Friday we'll really know what everybody thinks of the Fed and what they said today. That's really how it works. You have to think that way. Today is just all about extremes. Think about the rubber band getting stretched out and snapping back. That's what's happening. Okay, we are right on the bottom of the hour. Here comes the press conference. We're pushing down. We could get the lows taken out. I'm watching for a long here. It could be very asymmetric, so let's see if we can get it. If you don't understand what I mean about asymmetric, Google it first, the word, and then if you still don't get it, put it in the chat and I'll answer it. But I just mean that it's overwhelmingly easy to assemble an entry and risk reward. That's what asymmetry looks like. The potential in one direction is overwhelmingly bigger than the potential of being wrong and getting out of the way. And so that when you have asymmetry, you got to go with it. It's kind of like the universe's way of giving you a good setup. And asymmetry here is going to happen if this low gets bought. And particularly, again, just to repeat myself for the 50th time, a break of the low that gets bought is actually the real sweet spot trade. So let's see if we get that. Just look right now based on the VWAP. If we traded, we have to get down to 15 to get back to SD3, which we've already probed a bunch of times. So that's a really good spot to watch, 40.15. So, that would be like right there. So that's actually a decent spot to park an order. I'm not going to do it because I can just hit it down there, but that's the spot I'm watching right now if the low goes again. And remember, this is going to be reactions to questions and answers. So it could get pretty crazy here. Be careful. One answer they don't like could really push us down. And then, everyone could jump back in on the next question or, jump back in anyway. So, understand the human psychology of this. It's not just the math of the numbers. There's a lot of psychology in this particular setup. There's a large amount of volume that bought this low. And if it goes, some of them are going to get out of the way. We're going to definitely, puke down, at least initially. And that's, again, overwhelmingly why it's asymmetric. It's why it's a good idea, and that's why you don't want to play here. Oh, come to daddy. Come on, we're getting close. We can't seem to go below this spot right here where the volume tails off. this low 30s. But again, I don't want to be the sucker that buys the low 30s and then has it go to 15 and I've got to scale in dramatically down there. I want to be the guy that nibbles in on the break and then scales in to a good setup already, not to try to balance it out. So absolutely sit on hands until we get the setup. Wait for it. Be binary. If it comes, don't question it. Just take it. It works or it doesn't. If it doesn't work, get out of the way. It's that simple. I can't tell you how many years it took me to understand that statement that I just made about how simple that is. I used to so dramatically overthink this stuff and watch 15 different indicators and were they, do I have confirmation, all that nonsense, the TA nonsense that's all backward. You're looking back, you're looking at the past. It's not what's happening right now. What's happening right now is in the bid-ask volume. Right now it's getting sold and there's buyers stepping up as it's getting sold. That's what's happening, but we're still going lower. Let's see if we can push down. Oh, yes. It's trying. I really want to see this logo. Come get me. Come on. Good. There we go. Come on. Oh gosh, buyers right there. You can see, look at that volume picked up. And if we trade above that, we trade right through it. Perfect. Okay. Took those guys out. This low's going to go. Let's see how far it goes by watching 15 and then watching 10 and 0. But let's see if we can get down to 15 and grab along here. Plowed right through it. Look at that. Okay. Oh, love this. Okay. Price rejectors trying to hold. Oh, I'm going to take this. Okay. I'm long one at 12 here just for fun. See if it can go. Again, I like it at 0, so I'll take another one down there. But let's see if this low, if we can put in a low that holds here. It's trying. Pushing down a little more. Okay, I'm going to take one more on that almost 0, and then we'll take one off when it gets up into the other end of this range, if it does. Okay, I'm a little early on this. We broke 0 and it got bought, but it's still exploring that area. So it's still a dangerous spot, but I'm with 2 lot here. I'm happy. I might scale a little more into this, but let's see if we can get a runner going the other way, or at least get this one off with 25 or 50 bucks of profit. And then we'll see about, and again, I'm copying micros here. So it's actually 5 times that. So still trying to go. It's holding 0 right there. So let's see if that can continue to hold. Again, you got to take some heat when you do this. Just plan to take heat, but take profits quickly too. So anywhere up there, I'll take the first one off and then see if we can catch a runner back up to the 40s, which would be really nice, wouldn't it? Okay, we'll take that one off right there on 10. Oh, it traded there. I didn't get a fill. I moved it down as it came down. So I'm going to take 9 3/4. Still protecting some profit. Come on, you can do it. I like adding to this now because it's building a range down here. So we can get back down to the low 90s. I'll put another one on. You can see we had stops at the low here. That's what these zeros are. So I think we're going to, good, we got filled. We're going up. Okay, let's protect it. And my protection got hit. So that's cool. Made what? What did we make there? We made another 25 bucks. I'll take it again times 5. Now I'm copying to 5 accounts, not 4. So 125 in the bank. I still like this area, but I'm not convinced we're not going to go a little lower. So let's see. Let's see if we can re-challenge the stops down there and catch another long. I'm going to throw an order down there and maybe a little lower too. The internals are getting crushed. We're now down minus 1,000 and the tick is minus 500. So the market's selling off, guys. I'm just trying to catch the extreme. That's what we're doing here. And that's what this trade is all about, catching extreme. See how we're in ebb and flow here at the low? If you look at the LRCs, that area got bought. And look at the bid-ask delta. It turned over. So I caught the right spot and made some money on it. I don't want to sit long here. The next push down, again, is worth trying because this area is holding. Ooh, let's see if we can get a fill on 0 and then push that one down lower. Okay. Traded right to me. Missed it by 3 ticks again. And look at that, 10 points. That's why I hate limit orders. That happens to me so much. I even chased it a bit and couldn't get a fill there. All right, let's see if we get it on the next push down. Never chase these going up because it'll come right back. You can't chase these trades. It got bought real aggressively on big fat whole number, so I need to scoot up just a little bit above that spot. You can see where that big bid volume is there. Okay, here we go. Now it's going to come down and get me, I think. Nope. Gee, come on, you can do it. I'm going to scoot this other one further down. See if we can get a couple on here. Oh, I should have just hit the market on that last one. I shouldn't have tried to do that with a limit order. Oh well. We'll see if this time it gets filled. It's higher up now. I had it on 0.0 before, 0.25, and now it's on 2.5, so it's on the quarter number. See if I can get a fill. Probably not. It's probably going to go up now. Grr. Somebody ask a question that has an answer we don't like, so it goes down. Raise your hand if you're at the FOMC conference. Ask Powell something that will make us go down. I want to get a fill down here. Are there any questions about, the way I'm trading this, the technique? Because that's why, I do these live sessions to show you. It's a very unique technique you have to use when you're trading news extremes like this. There's almost no other conditions that you can trade this way. But if you're nimble and you pay attention, it's a really lucrative way to trade. You just have to be, mindful of the risk and know your exits, know your entries, watch the volume, good absorption right there. So again, that if I'd gotten filled down there, I'd be in really good shape. I didn't. Oh well. See if we get another crack at the apple there. It got to the middle of the range. That's a typical bounce. When you test one edge of the range and it bounces to the middle of the short-term range, my LRC ranges, that's very typical. So this is about the spot you would have expected it to do what it's doing. It's not like there's a massive amount of buyers under the market here. They're doing what I'm doing. People are trading this range. So let's, again, get a fill at the low end of the range, get out at the middle or the top end of the range. That's the trade. But you got to let it come to you. You can't chase this. Chasing will cost you money, I promise you. God, look at how volatile ES is. It's trading back and forth 3-4 points at a time. So it's trading like NQ. You got to treat it like NQ. Let it come to you. Protect your profit at all cost when you have it. Don't be married to targets. You might get them, you might not. Let it do what it'll do. Take what you can out of the market. Don't try to second guess it. It's smarter than you are every time. Oh, I really would like a fill down here, you guys. Come on. Push down one more time. Ask him a question that'll make us go down, not up. No, I wanted to be long already for this. I will not chase it. Ever, ever. Never chase this kind of action. Even though it's doing what I wanted to do, I wanted to be long for this move to 20 and maybe 40. I'm not going to chase it. It's just too dangerous. You have to take the asymmetric entry and let the trade work for you. You cannot say, well, it's going up now. I'm going to get, no. The bottom could fall through it so fast in this kind of action. Let's go back and look at the liquidity on ES again, just so you guys see what I'm talking about. Look at this. There are bids of over 100 now, and bids and asks, but they're spotty. Look how far apart they are. And everything else is double digits. That's why we're moving around so much. We're moving within the larger orders, and that's typical. The passive players are defining the range. So back in the teens, just like that. We were at 30 a minute ago. And now we're at 15, and now we're at 12 again. Oh, we might be able to get along down here. Come on. Oh, gosh. Let it come to me. Okay, I will take a little bit higher up. Never chase it, but if it turns, I'll come up a little bit to it. I do not want to come off too far off 0.0 here, because I think we'll go through it and I'll add lower. So, I'm willing to take one here, but I really want to get long further down. That's, where these orders are, not where that one is. But let's see if we can get a fill. That might just turn out to be a profitable trade if I can. Notice how you just have to be so patient trading this stuff and just let it come to you. It will or it won't. That's the way. Oh, here we go. Now I should get a fill. Come on. Oh, damn it. I'm not going to chase it, but I'll put it up a couple of ticks if I'm that close, but I will not chase it. Look at that again. These are like 6-8 point trades that I'm missing by 2 ticks at a time. Oh, that's frustrating. But I'm reading it right. I mean, I had a mentor teach me that once, that, stop telling me how frustrated you are, you're not getting entries, and tell yourself that you're reading it good. That's why you're not getting entries. You're in the same spot the passives are. And that it was such good advice. It was like, duh, I always felt like, damn it, I never got it. I felt like ripped off when I wasn't getting entries like that. And it, that's really the right way to look at it. What he said, if you can't get an entry at a spot where you've got a limit order and it's trading around to that spot, then you're in exactly the right spot. You are where the interest is, and you got to just be patient, and you get it or you don't. If you don't get it, you can't chase it. Not in this kind of action. Yeah, if I chased that, I'd have 20 points right here, but I don't break that rule. Never chase extremes. Never ends well. Sometimes you make a little money. It never ends well, though, in the long term. Okay, is it going to give me another shot at this low? Probably not. I'm guessing we're kind of done going down here, but maybe Powell will say something that everyone really doesn't like, and we'll get one more round. Got to look at all this volatility. Crazy stuff. Okay, here we go. We're going down again. Come get me, please. So now my order is at 4.5. I moved it up twice, but I'm not, like I said, I'm not going to chase it, but I'm willing to scale in a little bit near the lows. But I'm just not willing to be aggressive down there or chase it. Those are the two things. Got to leave yourself dry powder in case it goes lower. And if you don't get a good entry in this kind of action, you can't get money out of it anyway. So, chasing it can just be an exercise in futility. Come on down. Come on, one more good push down, guys. Okay, we're in the teens again, and it got bought. 12 area, 11, 10, 11, 12. That also got bought. Let's see what that does on this next push. Remember, each time we come down, we're chewing up demand down here. So, the technical analysis people like to talk about, the more times it tests it, the better. And from an order flow point of view, it's the other way around. The more times it tests it, the more times it's eating up the demand down here, and it ultimately will trade through it. If demand is never infinite. So, don't ever think that, whoa, that bottom got bought 5 times. It must be really strong. No, actually, the more times it gets down there, the more likely that low will go. That's just a classic example of technical analysis having it totally backwards, which they do frequently. Okay, come on. I really want to get a fill down here. I really do. Otherwise, I'd be wrapping the session up now because, it's going to start quieting down here. The press conference is, 3/4 of the way done, but still thinking we'll get a shot at this trade, so we'll keep the session going and see if we do. But if you have any questions or comments, stick them in the chat. I will get to them between now and whenever we end, which will probably be in the next 10 minutes. Hoping I can get one more bite at this trade down here. A lot of interest right here in the teens. But again, I don't want to be a buyer there because it's gone lower so aggressively. But every time we've touched this 15 area, there's been buyers there. They're getting run over right now, though. So maybe I'll get another shot at this. And we're trading on the ask, so we should go down. There we go. Okay. Let's watch the high volume nodes here. So we got a couple there and then down there where I am. So that really doesn't tell us anything. Oh, here we go. Come on, come on. Did I change my letter font? No, I didn't. Oh gosh, got to fill. Cool. All right. And we can protect it. Oh, that's perfect. Okay. Look at this. Come on, go back to 20. I'm going to give you lots of room. Go on, get up, get above 10. I want to see it clear this area first. Oh, well, it got filled, protected my 6 ticks. I was looking to get a lot more than that. 6 points maybe didn't, but it's still going down. Did I change my letter font? What you mean? What do you mean on letter where? On my domes? I didn't change anything there. I made this, my market analyzer, I made that a little smaller so I could see the whole thing. What font are you talking about, Jeff? Okay, look at this. That was a weak bounce. We didn't even get to 20 that time. So the bounces are not getting as far. The buyers are running out of steam down here. Be careful being long. We could push through the low again here. And the tick and advanced decline have turned. On the Jigsaw Dome, no, I didn't change anything. It's the exact same font I've always used. I installed a new video driver. Maybe it's sharper or different because of that. There was NVIDIA pushed out a new driver that I put on this morning. But I haven't changed anything there. The only font I changed was this market analyzer font. I made that a little smaller so it would fit in the categories there. All right, well, I'm thinking that the FOMC game is probably running out of gas here. We're probably going to work the range now for the rest and going into the close. There's clearly a potential trade here for the close, but we're still really volatile. So I think what I'm going to do is cancel my current orders and be happy with what I have in the bank and come back and see what the close looks like in another half an hour or so, see if there's a good setup. That's kind of what I'm thinking is the right play here. You know, you could stay in and try to play the lows here. But I think it's getting a little bit crazy down here. I think I want to see it get closer to the close so I can game it a little better. We've got a decent extreme, but we haven't been able to bounce much. So anyway, are there any other questions, comments? That was kind of fun. We made a little money, got to buy the lows a few times, not as aggressively as I wanted, but you know, profit is profit. Less risk is always good, but this feels like it could retest those. Remember those spots? Oh gosh, look at that. We had, remember I was talking about the poor week low and the single prints? Well, we got them. We just haven't cleaned up the last poor week low, but the one that I mentioned right at the beginning of the session, we got that, and we got those 2 single prints when we went down to 4,000. So that was really the opportunity down there to get long. And now, you know, it could explore back down there. And like I said, you know, we could go below 0.0 and end up closing down there. So I wouldn't be as aggressive now as things are starting to get baked in. And also note the internals are getting worse. The market's selling off now. You know, where the advanced decline's gotten down to minus 1100, a little bit of a bounce up, but it's negative. And look at the tick here. Since the FOMC started, the tick has not been anywhere near even 0. It's been mostly below it. And so, in other words, you know, more stuff's going down than up. And so, you know, be careful. Thank you, Paul. I really appreciate that, because that's one of the things that took me a long time to learn, and nobody ever taught me not to chase. That's why I emphasize it. I learned the hard way chasing stuff that, and what it is the psychology of it. You know, the trade's a good idea where I was putting my orders. That's clear. You know, we understand that. Chasing it says, okay, it was a good idea, but now, you know, somebody else got the good idea and it's running away. So I'm feeling like I'm going to miss out as a human being who's fearful and greedy. And so I'm going to chase after it. And that's exactly why you don't want to do it. You have to be the guy who patiently waits. It comes to you, you get a fill. And, you know, we did, you know, we've gotten 4 very profitable trades, actually 5 profitable trades. You know, they're not huge winners, but, you know, look, I didn't trade in the middle of the day. Between this session and the one I did this morning, How's that? $703 before commissions. Total trades is 120. So subtract 120 bucks from that. So, call it 600 bucks. Just doing what I'm doing here. With, the MAE has been almost nothing because it's coming to me, the trades are filling, and they're immediately going into profit. So there's a lot of reasons to embrace that kind of an approach. And it's really good if you're new to think that way. As a human, you want to chase stuff. If you're out hunting and, you shoot an arrow into the elk and the elk starts to run away, your instinct as a hunter is shoot another arrow and chase the elk. That's what that's how you get food. But the market doesn't work like that. The market is designed to catch you off guard. And it does. So you have to extract your human thinking and put your logic hat on and your thinking in bets hat. And it takes a lot of practice to do that well, Paul. It takes a lot. It's totally FOMO. And you have to really practice not being FOMO. People just think, yeah, I know I'm not supposed to do that. Yeah, but you have to train yourself. Habits take time to form. So practice not chasing, like you saw me do. Talk to yourself. Say, yeah, it's going up and I really could be in it. But if I get in it and it pushes back down, I'm going to feel really stupid. I talk to myself like that. That's what I call thinking about the not. What do I not want to do? What do I not want to have happen? That's what I don't want to have happen. So I'm not going to be stupid and chase it. I'm going to be patient and let it come to me. And if it doesn't come to me, there's no trade. But, sooner or later, most of the time it does come to you if you stake out good spots and you're patient. And that's really the moral of the story. Okay, how many accounts do I copy to? Right now I'm doing 5. I thought it was 4, but I accidentally turned on one of the other ones. So that's cool. When I'm making money, that's cool. But I've also made that mistake the other way, Jeff, where, I was copying when I didn't want to, and I was being really aggressive and, doing try to pass an eval in one day. And then I look at my copier and I'm like, oh crap, I'm in all my accounts, so you have to really be careful to only copy when, everything is going really well and your trades are working and you can manage risk. And, that's when you turn your copier on and you clean up, But trying to, trade a ton of size in these conditions across a lot of accounts would just be asking for trouble. So, and, again, people ask me over and over, why don't I trade the minis? I can trade as big an account as I want. Why don't I swarm the minis? Because of the risk. I don't want to be upside down $2,000 in a trade. I don't care how much money I make or I have. That's just stupid. If I do it in the micros, I might be upside down $200. That's acceptable. When your average profit's a couple of $1,000s a day, that's totally acceptable. But to take the kind of risk in this sweepy an environment of, multiple minis, it just doesn't make sense. I don't care how big your account is. It's just you're over leveraged. Small blocks of micros in and out is much smarter. Yeah, you pay a little more commission. So what? It makes lots of sense. And there aren't a lot of things that make sense in the market. So that's one that you can adopt. All right. I think we'll wrap up here. We're right at the top of the hour again in a couple of minutes. I think the press conference has probably expired, whatever movement. Now we're going to trade back into the range. The VWAP is way the F up here. The VWAP's at 57. I'd love to be long, but it's just too volatile to try to ride that all the way. We'll see what it's like at the close. We could get a good closing setup. If we do, it'll probably be in about a half an hour. Maybe another push to the extremes to buy or sell. So I'm going to set alerts and do that, but I'm not going to try to trade it unless it happens. So are there any other questions or comments from anybody? Fun session. We made a few dollars. Got to see some craziness. I love doing these news related sessions because they're always interesting to watch, if nothing else. And occasionally you can make some money. I've had some ridiculously big winners on these things, but I don't look for them. If I happen to buy a low or sell a high and then we get a run all the way the other direction, that happened on the NFP number 2 months ago. I was trading for a live public session and I caught just luck. I caught a 2-lot in micro MES, and it was a $2,400 trade with a 2-lot, 2 micros. Every now and then that happens, but you can't look for that. That's just thank the universe when that happens. All right, I'm going to wrap it up. Any other questions, comments? Keep an eye on the close today. It could get real interesting. Watch the extremes, watch the energy, watch the order flow. There's all kinds of variables here, lots of opportunity, target-rich environment. Okay, thank you, everybody. Thank you, Maria. Thank you. Make sure I say your name right. Idris, I hope I'm saying that right. Cool. All right. Welcome. Thank you. All right, everybody. Don't chase this at the close. Remember what I said, what Credelli said. I totally agree with it. Tomorrow, we will often see a reversal of whatever happened today. That's the reaction to the reaction. And then by Friday, FOMC is priced in. So think that way. And don't forget, Friday's quad witch. So it's like, and there's a bunch of news tomorrow. We have all the weekly jobless numbers, and we've got Empire Manufacturing and industrial production. We've got Philly Feds, so there's going to be a lot more volatility. If you didn't get into it today, don't worry. You'll have plenty of opportunities in the next 2 days. And with that, we will wrap it up. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you later on. Have a good afternoon.